Oh, man. Oh, man. So what has my coach been up to? Is that right? Is they're living in abundance? Is that right? So now, is that why the boys are getting a subpar education? Is that why the boys are getting an education below what they will receive even at a public school? Yes? Is that because the family is living in abundance? I do understand that Megan, she went about displaying another one of their experiments. And I guess they were doing some marbleization. Marbleizing. I guess they were doing some marbleizing, yes? And why is it that, as usual, per usual, Megan is the only one that's excited about the experiment? Yes? Why is Megan the only one that's oohing and eyeing? Yes? She's the only one that's amazed. Yes? Okay? She's the only one that's in discovery mode when it comes to the experimentation. Yes? Even little Noah doesn't display the excitement that Megan tries to portray. Why is that? They're living in abundance. Is that right? I do understand that even in their current state of abundance, there's certain things that they will not pay money for. They say they won't go in debt for those things. Okay, so we know that education has to be like number 2 or number 3 on the list. Yes, something that they will not pay money for, or they wouldn't go in debt for. Yes. Okay. So now most people realize that education is a worthwhile investment. Yes. And so how in the world would he rather go in debt for a zero term? How in the world would he rather go in debt for a bad boy tractor, for an auger, for a cattle hauler, for a trailer, even for a side-by-side? Why in the world would he rather go in debt for those material items than potentially go in debt for education? Now, bear in mind, that's no excuse, okay? Because you could educate those boys, properly educate those boys, adequately educate those boys without going in debt. Yes? Okay? All right, how much would it cost for you to send them to a private school? How much would it cost for you to bring in some private or some personal tutors? How much would it cost? Talking about you won't pay for education. Yes? What else did he have on the list? Things that they won't go in debt for. Oh, he said they won't go in debt for furniture and for clothing. Well, we already knew that. Yes, we already know. Back when they were pilfering the donation boxes back in Jackson, yes, we knew they were getting their clothing for free. Okay? And now, just because you pay for clothing doesn't mean you're going in debt. But in their case, they're like, no. Not only are we not going to go in debt for this clothing, yes, we want all our clothing for free. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get the first pick. We're going to get the pick of the litter or the donations that were intended for our community, yes? And of course, they were like, well, our community starts with us. It starts with us. Ha! Okay, so we dig first, yes? And of course, we knew they weren't paying for furniture, which means, of course, they weren't going in debt. When, of course, they admitted that they were getting their household furniture from the donations intended for the community, intended for the less needy. And so now how could you possibly be in a state of abundance if you're more needy than the less needy? Make it make sense, coach. Make it make sense, yes? But we know you went in there for furniture. Of course, you went in there for lamps. Recently, I don't know, maybe in the past several months, you guys admitted that you guys were even getting your lamps for free, yes, from the donations. We know you were getting the food items, yes? All right, we know you were getting the baked goods, the nearly expired baked goods. We know you were getting that stuff, yes? And so, of course, we know you wouldn't go in debt for furniture and what have you, yes? Now, you indicated that you would not go into debt, wouldn't go into debt for property. I guess it was for homes or for land. And now, certainly, if you have the inside scoop, yes, if you have a strong donor base, a strong base of woeful Tim worshipers, steady Tim supporters, yes, certainly, you wouldn't have to experience debt necessarily. We do understand that on that Woodlands property, that was investor property. They invested because they thought that the property was going to be structured around these work teams and these trails. Yes. And so we know you had investors, and certainly you don't have to go in debt when you have investors. Yes. So we understand that there are certain things that you guys were not willing to go into debt for, certain things that you guys clearly were not even willing to pay for. Yes, abundance begins at home. Is that the message? So what else? What else has my coach been up to? Is that right? And so Megan's she's still checking in with the Resurrection Ranch, just to let the heaviest of Tim followers know that the Resurrection Ranch is not dead. It may be on life support. Yes, it may be on life support, but he wanted to let them know that it is not dead. Is that right? Okay, and so I understand recently he pushed Megan out there into the woods. Okay, and so she's not even on site with the supposed happy camper. She's not even on site with the camper. She's just out in the woods just talking and rambling for like 17, 20 minutes of rambling. And we know that Megan is not as good at rambling as my coach is. He's a master rambler. Master deceiver. Master pretender. Okay. All right, so I guess he pushed her out, and she's detailing, I guess, some of the past or recent history with them living in that camper. We've heard that story, I don't know, maybe 100 times by now, tens of times by now we've heard the story, yes? But I guess that's for the new viewers, only the new viewers. Yes, and the rest of us just have to suffer through it. Okay, but she talks about how they trespassed out there at the Woodlands property on that supposed resurrection, what was it, camper? Resurrection cabin. How they went in there and they vandalized the walls. They wrote the graffiti up on the walls. They borrowed an item or two, yes. They borrowed an item or two, yes. Permanently borrowed it. It's not borrowing if you don't get permission. And what if you never return it? What if you make YouTube videos about items, personal items that you have borrowed from what was formerly known as the Resurrection Camper? What if you is that evidence? That's video? Is that irrefutable evidence about you going beyond borrowing? Yes? Does it border on stealing? It does border. They had plenty of opportunity to return it. They haven't yet returned it. Is that right? Okay. When are they ever going to return it? Considering that they've acknowledged that it does not belong to them. The cabin didn't belong to them. That remains to be seen. Is that right? Okay. All right. So Megan's out there. She's talking about this. She's talking about the camper and the Resurrection Camper, even though they just recently named it Resurrection Camper within the past couple of months. She's talking about how they secured the camper, I guess, for $200 or $250. What, 4 years ago? I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And so now they're going back. Are they rewriting history? Rewriting it. Before it was just a raggedy, broke down old camper, yes? Okay, that Tim pulled from some dump site, yes? And I guess they charged him $200 to haul it away. Yes? Just for the scrap metal value alone. So he paid for the scrap metal. And they said, okay, you give us the $200, give us $250, and we'll let you haul it away. Because we were going to junk it anyway, yes? And so it's just a raggedy old camper. And so now they dubbed it as being the Resurrection Camper. Years later. Okay, we knew that my coach, he was prone to try to create narratives and to shape and restructure the narratives around that supposed IAG farm. Now he's rewriting history with the camper. Now it was Resurrection Camper. Okay, and then of course Megan, she's confused. And so one moment she's calling it Resurrection Camper. The next moment she's calling it Happy Camper. And then she's like, well, no, the business is Resurrection Campers. Okay, we got a vision from God to be vigorous about this, yes? To be diligent about it, yes? And so apparently God got the vision wrong. Yes. So God told us to go at it aggressively. He got it wrong. God changed the vision and God said, no. I want you guys to wait patiently and then work diligently on other things. Whoa. Okay, where did that come from? Good. Don't put that on God. Don't put it on God. We know who's hitting that stop and that start button. Yes. We know who's flipping the pages. We know who's turning the knob on the seasons. We already know. Don't put that on God. All right, but even Megan gets that confused. And she's talking about, first she was talking about waiting patiently, and then she's talking about waiting diligently. I'm like, what does it mean to wait diligently? Okay, wait diligently and then work patiently. Okay, just nonsense, Megan. Nonsense. Megan, we know you don't have a choice, but Tim, please, Tim. Okay, just set aside the resurrection race completely because it's been set aside. All right, so just set aside completely, pick it up in due time. I'm sure some of your readiest of Tim riders, okay, they'll be ready to pick it up. Whenever you're ready to pick it up, they'll be ready to pick it up. Okay, so what else has he been up? Has he been up to anything else? Not too much. Okay, well, I know that I saw they did a trailer about something about this is what our farm does best, or this is what we do on our farm. And I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh, yes? Because we know what my coach does best has nothing to do with farming. It doesn't even have anything to do with gardening. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with raising animals. It doesn't have anything to do with being a family man, being a strong father, raising young boys. Nothing to do with that. We know what he does best is snitching. And so when he talks about this farm is what we do best, or this is what it's all about at this farm, we know there's some snitching going on. Coming soon. It's coming soon, yes? Okay? We know it's coming soon. All right, and I know they admitted that based upon the quote, I guess they got a quote for putting up the siding, the shed siding on their house. I guess they got a quote, and $6,000 of it was labor. Of course, my coach, he was adverse to that, yes. And so clearly he's going to continue with putting the siding up himself. And then I guess they got a quote for doing the roofing. And we do understand that my coach, he did the research. He did the digging. He was picking the contractor's brains every step of the way. Yes, we already know that, yes. When they were quote unquote advising him or consulting him. Now they were consulting him for the sake of them actually securing the job. Yes, but we know my coach, we know he loves those blueprints, yes? And any contractors that are gullible enough to give up their blueprints, give up their plans and their strategies, of course, Tim absorbs it so that he can apply it himself. Now, considering the fact he had that little plastic, he calls it tin, yes? That little tin-foil roof up there on that mobile home for what, 2 to 3 years now? That was sufficient for his family. Any roof that Tim himself applies to that home would be better. Any roof would be better, yes?
It's gonna be exciting, like I say. So we have this last little spurt on the siding of our house, and like I say, the roofers had to have decided that they can't do the roof or don't want to do the roof until we have the siding done. Now that's gonna be dangerous because y'all saw the video where Megan was trying to figure out, like, am I gonna do the roofing or am I gonna contract out the roofing?
And I can say that's true. Actually, this morning I was just thinking about, are we really going to contract out the roof, or is Tim going to end up doing this roof on Emma, y'all? I don't know. What do y'all think? I don't know. I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, Tim might end up doing this roof, y'all. I don't know yet. I can't say for sure yet, but that's just a thought.
I'm telling you the truth. I want to contract out the roofing. Like I brought him through. I told him that I wanted to get the roof done before we went to Disneyland. I gave him all the details, and they still decided that I needed to have the siding done before the roof goes on. Now they can do the roof before the siding, but they would have to come back, unscrew the edges, and then took the drip edge under there, which can be done because that's what I would do if I was doing it. But they want to do it a certain way, like I say, and they're not the customer though. You know what I'm saying? I'm the customer,
and so of course there's no risk. I mean, if he'll house his family underneath that raggedy roof, okay, then certainly any roof that Tim puts up in replacement of that will be better. Okay, so he absolutely. Now he's talking about going off to Disney World, and he's talking about the fact that, well, we wanted to finish certain things before we went off to Disney World. At one point, he claimed he wanted to put up the shed siding on the house first, and he wanted to have it painted up before he went. Now he's adjusting the goals. Yes, he's adjusting the target, the goalpost. He's been shifting them, and now he's like, well, long as we can get up the the OSB and we get up the weather wrap, we got all the windows in place, then we're ready to go. Maybe I'll get the roof up in place. If they can get it up before we go, then I'll let them do it. But if not, I'll do it myself. And like, okay, coach, you're double talking, coach. We already know that you're going to do it. Okay, and if Megan waited this long to have a real roof, a suitable roof on that mobile home, she can wait a bit longer. And certainly she will, coach. All right, you talk about what Megan, thinking, oh, Tim might go ahead, and we already knew it. We knew this weeks/months ago. Months ago, we knew it. Us discerning viewers, us critical observers, we already knew Tim was going to do the roofing. Okay? So there's no surprise to us as far as that. But now, we do have some snitching coming up. I'm sure we have some snitching coming up. All right?
Style.
There you go.
Grocery store style.
Mm-hmm.
What we do, we do the carts.
Okay.
We let the people take the carts, get a free box,
There you go.
and then they just go around and shop and get what they want.
Yeah, so you got the number of items
You
listed
got
like
the
you
number
said.
items. See the yellows. See the yellow. Say one.
Yeah.
The oranges. That's two.
There you go.
And then they can get that, and so they can shop. Usually we have bread. This would usually be full of bakery and pastry items. So
Now you got a partnership with IAG Farms.
there we go. IAG
Oh
Farms.
my God.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of my videos? I think I sent you some back in the day.
My wife always watch y'all.
Oh, for real? I didn't even
This
know that.
is one of our freezers here.
This
Yeah.
is not food that's about to expire.
Right.
They just,
It's so fresh.
so fresh.
That it just was
came from
Alive 2 weeks ago.
processed.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like we raised this food. My boys fed these hogs
Yeah.
every day. They took care of them.
Yeah.
They made sure that they were okay. So this is literally the best quality meat you can have,
Yeah.
and we want to give it away.
Yeah.
That's on our heart. We want to give away the best of the best.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you guys, first of all, welcome back to the end game. Today I'm going to give my reaction to the recent video where Tim talks about this is what our firm does best. And I guess in the thumbnail, he's kind of implying that they're giving away some goods. They're giving away, maybe I shouldn't call them goods. He's giving away some stuff. And it looks like meat. Okay? And it would be nice if it was fresh. It would be nice if it was farm fresh. Oh my goodness. But it appears as though he's about to give away some of that tainted meat. Some of that uninspected meat. Some of that questionably raised farm meat. Yes. From the pigs. I mean, I guess the sheep have it a little bit better around that farm. But we know that the pigs are raised on feed and poop alone. I mean, they bathe in the poop, yes. They wallow in the poop. They drink of the poop. Yes, and of course we know they poop of the poop. All right. But I'm going to give my reaction to that video here. All right, so early in the video, we come to see that Tim and Megan, they've decided to donate some of their meat to a local missionary, I suppose. And I guess they spot a vending machine in front of the door. They try to insert some money into it several times. I'm not sure how many attempts it would take before somebody got the point, unless, of course, you were looking to snitch. Okay, and to highlight and focus on someone else's deficiencies or weaknesses. Yes. And so they try to put coins in, and coins don't do anything. Guess they tried to put a dollar bill in forward and backwards, and that didn't do anything. And Tim got all the footage. He got all the footage. Why is that? Yes. This reminds me of when Tim was doing the sit-down P2P nodcast, and he was talking about being self-deprecating. Okay, which means that we thought he was going to focus on his weaknesses. But then he spent the next 15 minutes focused on Megan. Focus on Megan and her deficiencies as a wife and the responsibilities of a wife and a woman, what it means to become a woman. Yes? Okay, we thought Tim was going to open the book and share some of his stuff. So now there's a rumor that this is what narcissists do. It's a rumor. It's just a rumor. That's what they do, is they focus on others' weaknesses in order to build themselves up higher, yes? And so, of course, Tim focuses on the fact that this soda machine is malfunctioning. And it's not enough. So he makes a little snide remark toward the minister and says, okay, you need to get that machine fixed. Okay, as if the guy didn't already know it, yes? And so Tim's like, no, I'm going to blast you on YouTube. You need to get it fixed. I'm like, oh, my goodness. That's my coach. That's my coach, yes? And so I guess later on, he does complain to the minister about the machine. And the minister, he clarifies things for Tim. And he says, well, that's not really a soda machine. It's a donation machine. And of course, I'm like, oh, my goodness. On camera. Yes. On camera. Is it deception or is it fraud or is it theft? Okay. If you knowingly have a machine and you're knowingly collecting money. Okay. Most people would put a big old sign out front that says out of order. Just slap it on the front of the machine, out of order. And so Tim is trying to paint the picture, and I guess the minister, he unknowingly goes along with it. He's trying to paint the picture. He's painting the picture that this guy knows that the machine doesn't work, but he's still collecting money from it. Is there a sign on it that says donations accepted? No, there's no sign for that either. And so this minister is now. I know at one point Tim talked about forging a partnership with this gentleman, with his ministry, with his pantry. Okay. And I'm like, oh my goodness, look out. Okay. Because I'm not sure if that's going to be a good thing for this minister or if, unfortunately, this minister may have some skeletons tucked away. Yes. So I'm not sure how to judge this. I do know that when Tim said, well, you guys can form a partnership with IAG. I know the guy was mum. Tim said it and the guy he didn't even respond. He didn't even blink his eye. He just kept on walking. Tim said, hey, we can forge we can form a partnership with you guys. And the guy he didn't even acknowledge it. Yeah. So I give the guy credit there. Yes. And then Tim was talking about, well, hey, do you guys watch our IAG videos? And we know what the gentleman said, rather than tell a lie. Okay. He said, my wife watches you guys all the time. Okay. And then he kept on moving. And so he's like, Tim, don't get carried away. Okay. Just because you guys are donating some of your meat. And now, this guy has a pantry that's set up like a grocery store, which is very impressive. Very impressive. And I guess those folks that are needy, or Tim or Megan, okay, yeah, they're not adverse to dipping in on the territory of the needy. They're not adverse to going in and taking their fair share of donations. Okay, but I guess at this particular pantry, it's set up like a grocery store. They can go around with their cart and they can take a couple of items of this, a few items of that, one item of that. And very impressive. I do like that part. And so maybe this is the price of getting the publicity for the pantry. I guess the price is that you have to suffer through Tim snitching on you at every opportunity. Yes? Okay, so now we know that if this pantry is receiving donations, they're getting items that are pre-packaged, items that have been certified, coming from sources, factories, farms, etc., that have been inspected. And so now, with this supposed partnership, Tim's offering this gentleman, this ministry, some of his own farm meat. Okay, and so we do understand that IAG does not get inspected, except for the inspection that us discerning viewers offer him, yes, before he blocks us. Before he blocks us and deletes our comments, see, okay? Except for our inspection, we know that the IAG does not get inspected. Okay, and so as far as some type of USDA certification on that meat, it will not exist. Okay, and so the processing facility, certainly they get inspected. Okay, and so they can certify their processing. But there's a saying that garbage in, garbage out. And so if Tim and Megan are bringing tainted meat, they're bringing tainted meat to the processor. If you have tainted meat going in, you're going to get tainted meat coming out, yes? And so I would be a little bit concerned. Not just a little. Largely concerned. I would be largely concerned about this minister putting some of this IAG meat up on his shelves when who knows how that meat has been raised. Who knows what they've been subjected to. Who knows whether their living quarters are infested, disease-ridden, infected, etc. Yes. Actually, with the guy receiving the meat from Tim, there's no telling. Some of these animals may have been sickly. They may have been sickly before they were processed. We don't know for sure. Yes. But we got to be leery about this. So you're putting some of this meat up on your shelves. You're going to offer it to the homeless. Now, didn't Megan say that they had an issue with getting expired goods? Okay, back when they were pilfering the donations when they were in Jackson, they had an issue with them actually getting expired goods themselves. Yes. And so wouldn't it be reasonable for you to want those needed now that you're sharing, now that you're finally sharing, okay, based upon the reaction spaces and the commentary, now that you're finally sharing some of your meat, okay, would you not want those recipients to get some of the best meat that they can possibly have? Okay, now Megan, she talks about the fact, well, this meat is fresh. Now, it's only fresh in the sense that these animals are living, a week ago or days ago they were alive. It's only fresh in that regard, yes? Okay, but it's similar to if you're a fisherman, okay, and you're fishing in some of the polluted waterways. Okay, some of these waterways have warnings. Okay, they have dietary warnings whereby they recommend that you only eat one fish per month. One fish per month out of that waterway. Okay, and so if we're fishing and we pull it out of the water, we can say it's a fresh fish. But if that fish has been born and bred within a polluted environment, okay, similar to how those pigs have been raised in a polluted pigsty of a pig pen, yes, we would not classify them as being fresh pigs or fresh meat. Yes, you have fish that would come from a polluted waterway. You have pigs that come from a polluted pigsty. That's not really what we mean when we refer to something as being fresh. Yes, and so of course when Megan said that, and now bear in mind for the minister, he said his wife watches some of the IAG videos, and so she's seen some of the shenanigans and some of the disregard that's going on, some of the lack of cleanliness, some of the filth and filthiness that goes on around it. So she's seen some of it. And so, of course, when Megan's talking, well, you're getting fresh meat because it was alive a couple of days ago. Of course, the minister is once again, he's mum. He's mum. Okay, but we have to see how this plays out. Okay, and so now, how ironic is it? And we see that when Tim is coming back from the process, we see that his truck is packed full of meat. Okay, and so certainly there's plenty of meat to fill up his freezers. Yes, there's plenty of meat to offer some to his family members if they were interested. If they were interested. At least to his mama, right? He could offer some meat to Grandma Lily, right? But there's plenty of meat. And so why is it, after all these years, after all these comments and viewpoints within the reaction space, why is it that after all this time, when Tim has an overabundance of meat, tainted meat, now that he has an overabundance of it, now he's willing to share? What kind of nonsense? What kind of nonsense is that? And then they talked about how they lived in the camper for 9 months, and they lived how no one else would live. So now they can live and give how no one else can. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean you can live like no one else can? Okay, your family has been trapped in a raggedy old single wide for a couple of years now. Before that, you had them living in a shed shack, okay, And so what are you talking about living like others can't live? Who are the other people that can't live in a raggedy old mobile home? Who are those people that can't live in a shack, can't find a shed somewhere and take up residence in it? Who are those people? Who are those people that can't find a broken down, raggedy old salvage yard camper and take up root? Who are those people? Okay, those would only be the homeless people, yes? Okay, and so we're not going to insult the homeless. We're not going to do that here, yes? But who are the people you're talking about? So now you're living like other people can't? Which people cannot live in a raggedy old mobile home? On a raggedy old farm? Who are those people that can't live like that, yes? And then you're talking about giving like no one else can. What am I missing here? You're giving out your scraps. I mean, previously you talked about the crumbs falling off your table, yes? For the reactors and the reaction spaces. You talk about the crumbs and people eating off of your crumbs, yes? But in this case, only now that you have an overabundance of tainted meat, are you willing to share it? What are you talking about giving like, no. If you were giving like others couldn't, you would give of your first fruit. Yes? Yes, Pastor Tim? Ex-Pastor Tim? Chosen one? Anointed one? Oh, either way you put it. Okay, if you were strong in your walk with God, you would give of your first fruit, yes? Maybe your second fruit. Okay, but you wouldn't be giving out, doing the handouts on your overabundance of tainted meat. What about that shrimp? How come you didn't donate any of the shrimp? What about the pork chops that you got from the grocery store? I'm not talking about pork chops. I'm not talking about pork chops from the tainted pigs. Yes? How come you're not donating any of that stuff? Okay, what about the chicken that you admitted that you buy from the grocery store? Even though you got like 20 or 30 chickens in your backyard. What about the chicken from the grocery store? How come you're not donating any of that? You can purchase it from the store and you can walk right over to the pantry and donate it. How come you're not doing that? Okay, so you're talking about giving like others can't. When are we going to see that? Okay, and I'm going to warn you, you steady Tim supporters, you ready Tim writers, you heavy, and I mean heavy. I just like saying heavy. You heavy Tim followers, okay? When is he going to donate some of that other stuff? When is he going to donate some second fruit or third fruit? Instead of trying to donate or pretend like he's donating some scraps to an apparently questionable minister, yes? And now, that minister may be upstanding in some right. He may be upstanding. But if that minister would dare align himself with IAG, that's a red flag. Unfortunately, it's a red flag, yes? But okay. All right, that's enough. That's it for my reaction. That's enough. I can't take no more. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG video where I guess they talked about giving like others couldn't give, or living like others couldn't live, or this is what we do on a farm, or we're snitching on the minister in his pantry. Yes, we're snitching on him, yes? He may be getting shut down any day now. But please like, subscribe, chop it up in the comments. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. I do appreciate it. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.